such a long time since we've had a video out, but we're so excited to be back. We've had quite a busy fall, but we are ready to start bringing some videos to you again from our homestead. And on that note, we just want to say Merry Christmas to all of you and kick off the festive season with a really fun and delicious Christmas breakfast and drink. So let's get started. So we're going to be making a classic sourdough French toast and eggnog for this Christmas-inspired breakfast. And just like the eggnog, the bread that I am preparing here can definitely be done in advance, baked and everything, so that makes Christmas Day preparation so much easier. To make this bread, I'm just combining 3/4 cup of water, 1/4 cup of honey, 1/4 cup of melted butter, and 3/4 cup of active sourdough starter in the bowl of my stand mixer. Since the butter is pretty hot from just being melted on the stove, I like to combine the water, honey, and butter first and whisk that all together, and then add in the sourdough starter just so the heat doesn't kill it. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in 1 teaspoon of salt and make sure all of those wet ingredients are whisked together really well. And then we're just going to start adding in our flour. This takes anywhere from 2.5 to 3 cups. Definitely start with the 2.5 and see if your dough is coming together on low speed in about 2 minutes. And if it's not, you might need to add a little bit more. Just start with 1/4 cup at a time, up to 1/2 cup extra, and just continue to knead that on low to medium speed. And definitely with that amount of flour, it should be forming a ball. But that's what you're looking for. You want it to clean the sides of your stand mixer and form a ball after it's been mixed on low to medium speed for about 5 to 6 minutes. While that dough is continuing to knead, I am just going to be greasing a bowl here to place the dough in so that it can rise. You want this to double in size. Depending on how warm your kitchen is, that's going to take anywhere from about 6 to 12 hours. Just look for it to be risen and bubbly, and then you will be good to go for the next process. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and get this into the greased bowl and let this set so it can rise. so it's the next day. I did let my dough rise overnight, and it was definitely doubled in size, and I could see lots of little bubbles in it, so that's what we're looking for. At this point, it's ready to transfer to a 9x5 loaf pan. I like to just line mine with parchment paper. It just makes it a lot easier, but you could just grease it if you don't have parchment paper. We're just going to shape this into a little loaf and go ahead and place it in the loaf pan and let this rise for about 1 more hour until we are ready to bake it in the oven at 350 for about 45 minutes until it's getting nice and golden on top. And while that loaf is baking, I'm going to go ahead and get started on the eggnog. And once again, everything that I have done so far can definitely be done in advance so that there's just a few finishing touches to add to this breakfast on Christmas Day. So to start the eggnog, I am just separating 12 eggs. All we want is the yolk for the recipe. So just toss that yolk back and forth in your hand, gently of course, so you don't bust it, until you have all of the whites separated, and you can just plop those yolks right down into a large saucepan once they are all separated. And then we're going to be adding 8 cups of whole milk, 2 cups of heavy cream, 1 cup of maple syrup, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, and 2 tablespoons of vanilla. And then we just want to get that whisked together really, really well before we transfer this to the stove. You just want to make sure that you're not seeing any big chunks of egg yolk by the time you have this all mixed together. You just want it to be really, really smooth so that when it's cooking, all it needs to do is heat, and you don't need to worry about whisking it very thoroughly too much after that. So just go ahead and get all of those ingredients combined, and then we'll jump over to the stove in just a minute to finish up this eggnog. So now at this point, all we need to do is transfer this to the stove, and we're just going to be heating this to about 160 degrees. So you want to start off with really low heat because you definitely don't want to scorch the milk, but over time you can bring it up to medium heat. And I would say if you're doing this same size of a batch, it's probably going to take 15 to 20 minutes to heat this to where it needs to be. If you don't have a thermometer, don't worry. You can definitely still do this. Just look for little bubbles around the edges. And also you can do the spoon test where you would just take a metal spoon and stir the eggnog, and when you take it out, it should coat the back of the spoon. And that's a really good indication that this is heated to the point that it needs to be. And once you reach that point, all we're going to do is refrigerate this until it is chilled all the way through and it is ready to serve. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to show you is how to finish up this French toast. This is going to be a pretty classic recipe, so we're just going to start off by slicing our loaf in slices that are about 3/4 inch to 1 inch thick. And this loaf should make about 8 to 10 pieces of French toast. And after that, we're going to go ahead and just combine our egg and milk mixture for soaking the bread. I like to just combine 2 eggs, 1 cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and about half a tablespoon of vanilla in a nice shallow dish so that I can thoroughly coat all of the slice. And we're just going to mix that together really well and start by soaking our slices of bread for about 30 to 60 seconds on each side before we fry these in our skillet. After those slices of bread have finished soaking, I'm just going to be adding some butter to a cast iron skillet that's been preheating, and I'm just going to be frying these pieces up for about 30 to 60 seconds on each side. We're just looking for a nice golden brown on each side, and then we're just going to plate this up with some butter and maple syrup and a few raspberries on top for a little bit of Christmassy garnish. And so that is it for today's recipes. I hope you guys decide to try these in your own kitchen this Christmas or maybe New Year. And we just want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas from our homestead to your home. So have a blessed Christmas and a very Happy New Year, and we will see you all very soon. Bye, friends.